Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. In the bottom left, you can see that off camera I went ahead and grabbed a silver rupee, and that is because I want to go ahead and shoot down Tingle right here because he has the map of the Great Bay that we need to buy, and I really do like to buy all the maps in the game, of course. It just makes it a little bit easier to navigate. Of course, once again, might as well go ahead and mention that because we are in the Great Bay, the map will only cost 20 rupees, so I guess getting a silver rupee was a little bit of overkill, but we will need a couple more rupees, probably another 20 or so, a little bit later on. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the thing that I'm referring to in this episode or in the next episode, but in any case, we will need rupees probably a little bit later on, so I guess it's not really that big of a deal. But over here, I think I mentioned in the last episode, there is a guy over here that we need to help. It's actually a Zora, and the closer we get to him, a cutscene will start here, so it looks like, for some reason, this Zora is injured in some way, so we really need to help him get out of the water. That is his goal right now, or that's what he wants. He needs somebody to help him get out of the water, and if you know anything about the Zelda series, you know that Zoras are really good in the water. They can swim really well, so the fact that he needs help getting to shore really goes to show you how damaged and how injured he is. Alright, so we got him to shore, but he apparently didn't make it that far. I had to collect myself. I was actually going to explain something during that scene right there. And by the way, I'm going to go ahead and put my ocarina up to my face while I explain something, because if you have the ocarina up like this, time does not pass, and we don't want time passing right now. But the reason I had to collect myself, what I'm referring to is, there right before that cutscene started, where he started to walk up to shore, there was a very strange looking thing that happened. So go ahead and rewind if you want to see that. But in the English version of this game, you actually have to grab him with the A button to move him to shore, but in the Japanese version, all you really have to do is get behind him and push. So I thought it would explain that little bit of a difference right there between the English and the Japanese versions, but he is really injured again. I thought I should reiterate. Let's go ahead and see what he has to say. I am Mikau of the Zora people, guitarist in the Zora band. I think this is it for me. My final message. Will I listen to it? Of course, I guess that is the least we can do. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead once again and go to the ocarina cutscene thing because I don't want time to pass, but I want to explain a little bit, or just discuss this just a tiny little bit. Mikau here is a member of the Zora band, or he didn't say which band, I don't believe right there, but the Indigo Goes, which we met the manager of that band in the last episode, and he said that his band was going to be unable to play in the Carnival of Time for two reasons. Actually, the first reason, I don't know if he even knows that Mikau is injured, but that's one reason why they won't be able to play, but the second reason is, and Mikau kind of told us right there, that the singer lost her voice. So I kind of think the way it all intermingles and intertwines like that is really cool. But he also mentioned that there were a collection of eggs that Lulu laid that are very important, but the pirates stole them, and he went to try and get them back, which led to his injury, which leads us to this point. But without further ado, I think he has suffered long enough. Let's go ahead and heal his injuries. Now, once again, the creators of this game really know how to tug at my heartstrings. That scene, I don't know why. I mean, I do know why. He, you know, had to say farewell to his fellow bandmates, but just a final tug at the heartstrings. Link himself actually had to create Mikau's grave. And on the grave, there are 2 songs. They're not really songs, but if you click on them, they will teach you how to use the Zora form. But we don't really need to read those right now because I am going to demonstrate the functions of the Zora mask right now. Hopefully I can dodge these levers. I believe that is what they're called in this game. I can't remember it. But anyway, if we go ahead and put on, I kind of want to mention this actually. It's kind of a little, it's not really a glitch, I guess. If you put on, you might remember how if you put on a mask for the first time, you do that like crazy animation where he like screams at the camera. If you're in another form and you put on the new form, or the new mask, you don't actually get that. So if you want to skip the animation, that forced animation where they like yell at the screen, that is one way you can. But anyway, I can't believe I just jumped up here like that. I thought for sure I was going to hit the bottom of that, but the Mikau mentioned that, you know, the eggs, and we discussed those. We need to come in here because the scientist is where the eggs were going to be transported. So if we talk to him as a Zora, he will say that, well, I just skipped all of that dialogue, but he'll say if we don't put the eggs in the aquarium, they will die. Of course, that's a really bad thing because he doesn't. We need the eggs pretty much to progress in the game. If we talk to him as regular human Link, he'll say, basically, I'm just going to wrap up everything he says. It's not really that important. What's really important is the final line of dialogue in this little scene of dialogue right here. If we can get to it, there we go. So basically what he was saying there was that he's been waiting for the shipment of basically of the eggs, and he's wondering what happened to him and why the Zoras have not brought them yet because they are so important. And, you know, it's a bad thing. He needs the eggs because they need to hatch, and if they die, that's a bad thing. And they can only hatch if they're incubated or whatever in this little aquarium that is right behind us. But he says he wondered if something happened at Zora Hall. So that is the way that we are supposed to know where to go next. We have to go to Zora Hall, and we have to do some stuff there. Now, Zora Hall, every time I say that or read it, I know this is completely tangential, but it reminds me of Zora Hall from Whose Line Is It Anyway, which, by the way, is back if you were not familiar on the CW, so I'm really happy about that. But I like to do that little hop there at the end. I don't know why. Anyway, yeah, Whose Line Is It Anyway? Zora Hall is the pianist, or whatever you want to call her, basically the musician on the show. And Zora Hall reminds me of Zora Hall. Anyway, that was really kind of ridiculous there. But right here, there is a cutscene, or not a cutscene, a minigame that you can play in the daytime. But of course, it is nighttime right now, so we cannot play that. But before we go back to Clock Town, which we are going to need to do in just a few minutes, I want to come over here and demonstrate a couple more facets of the Zora form. And this is going to be a little bit more geared towards combat, I guess you could say. On the top there, you can see that it says dive and surface with the B and A buttons. And that is one way you can get from the top to bottom in water fairly easily. And by the way, here's that technique I wanted to show you, this shield technique, which allows you to basically shield, but not only that, the shield damages people that you hit. And I did not mean to collect that piece of heart right now, I wanted to explain really quick, but that like if you destroy it, which I feel the easiest way to destroy it is with the Zora shield, you will get a piece of heart. But in the Majora's Mask Player's Guide by Nintendo, they say to stand up here on this ledge and fire arrows down at it. I never found that. I mean, of course that's an easy way to do it, but I think using the Zora specific techniques are probably a little bit better to take that out, just to feel like, you know, you're a Zora, I guess. But over here, we're going to need to go to the Zora Hall, which, of course, we learned about because of the scientists, and that, I'm not sure why, I'm like clipping out of the side here, I don't know what's going on here. But we learned about Zora Hall from the scientists at that observatory thing, and we need to go to Zora Hall, of course, to progress the game. Actually, I don't think you technically have to, but you figure out where to go next if you've never played the game before by coming to Zora Hall, so I will do that. But before we actually go in, I want to go behind Zora Hall to the area by the back entrance and enter in style, I guess, onto the back porch, if you will. Take off our Zora mask because we want to go ahead and hit the owl statue here. This owl statue, of course, we've used them many times, will allow us to warp back to Zora Hall, so I wanted to do that because we're going to have to go back to Hyrule. If we went back to Hyrule, that'd be really cool. We're going to have to go back to Clock Town, but here is the back entrance to Zora Hall that we will be going into shortly. Also, here is the singer that has not lost her voice, but I'm not going to embarrass her by talking to her, of course, because she won't be able to talk back, and that would be kind of, you know, low class to put her in that situation. But we need to go back, like I said, to Clock Town, because I'm not sure if I explained why, but in Clock Town around 8:30 or 8, is when, oh, wait a minute, by the way, there was a Deku Nut, it looked like up in that tree. I just saw that as we were warping away. I've never seen that before. I didn't know Deku Nuts grew in trees like that. Maybe that is what Deku Babas grow into. I had no idea. Go back and watch that cutscene like right before I leave and you'll see what I'm talking about. But anyway, the Stockpot Inn closes around 8:30 at night, and we need to go to the Stockpot Inn to talk to Anju. And the reason that is because we learned in the last episode that there is a missing man named Cafe, and we just happen to have his mask right here. So we need to go ahead and talk to Anju, and the reason we would know to talk to Anju is because in Cafe's notebook, it said that he was set to be married to Anju, and because Cafe is missing, you would maybe think that Anju might have some sort of idea where Cafe is. And because the Stockpot Inn is closed right now, we have to go in the secret top entrance and not in the front door, and we got here just in time. Because Anju is right here, we need to go ahead and put on the Cafe mask before we talk to her. But if she goes in this door right here, you're pretty much screwed because the side quest ends right there because you can't talk to her. But she says here we're also looking for a Cafe, of course we are, and she has a request and a clue, of course, that will help us find him. But she won't tell us until 11:30 tonight in the kitchen. So we've made a date, if you will, with Anju here because we have to come back at 11:30 tonight, and she will give us a clue as to where a Cafe might be. If you've never played the game before, you might not know to go to Anju quite, immediately, and you would probably have to go around and talk to everybody in town, but since I know exactly who to talk to, I thought I'd just go ahead and do that. But we're gonna go ahead and go in the Happy Couple shop. I forgot what the exact name of the store is or whatever, but we're gonna go in there in just a second. But what I want to show you is that if you shoot the eyes with arrows, you actually get rupees. So I thought that was a kind of a little cool Easter egg. But if we come in here to the Honey and Darling shop, it's not even really a shop, it's sort of a mini-game, a collection of mini-games. On days 1, 2, and 3, you will play, like I said, different mini-games. Today is the Bomb Chew Gallery day on day 1. And if you complete all the mini-games on days 1, 2, and 3, you get another heart piece. So it's a little bit like the Deku Playground mini-game. But I find this one to be a little bit easier, especially since it's only like 10 rupees to play. And all you really gotta do on the first day anyway is shoot these bomb chews at the wall and hit the targets. But what you don't want to do is fall off this platform, this wooden platform we're on in the middle of the room here, because you will lose the minigame pretty much immediately. But I think I said this was a kind of an easy minigame. It's not really that easy. If you remember back to Bomb Chew Bowling in Ocarina of Time, it's probably easier than that, but it's not quite so easy. So I think, because I'm not having much luck here, actually it's going a little bit better than I thought it would, so maybe I was going to say, let me go ahead and speed this up. But I might actually be able to do this without doing any sort of editing whatsoever. Well, I guess I actually am, I was going to say perfect, that's a little getting a big head there, but I did it perfectly on the first try, so that's actually a really big ease on my mind, or it takes a load off, because first of all we get 50 rupees, our face is beaming once again, but the shop closes around 10 o'clock at night, so it's a really good thing we got it done when we did, because I don't think we would have had too many more opportunities to try that minigame again. But I just equipped the Goron Mask and the Bunny Hood, the Goron Mask, so we can roll to the next destination, of course, and the Goron Mask is the fastest way to do that, which, by the way, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but the spiked Goron roll is the fastest form of movement in the entire game, and that super slide that I showed you where I put the bomb down and slid backwards, that's actually equivalent to the speed you'll get with the Goron spike roll. But anyway, here we are in the post office, and we've seen this guy around town every once in a while, but if we look at him, I don't even know what to make of this, really. I don't know what sort of, practice he's doing here, but if we talk to him, he'll actually tell us what he's doing. 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Why? You startled me. Do not disrupt my training. In my mind, I'm running for exactly 10 seconds without looking at a clock. I was in the middle of mental training. You may make fun of me, but this is quite difficult. Well, I try, I guess. I mean, I don't know how that's going to help you. Press A to start, count 10 seconds, and the precise moment you think you've hit 10 seconds on the dot, press A again. So I hope you guys are ready for the most ridiculous minigame of all time. We have to hit 10 seconds on the dot without any sort of outside help. That was way off. I'm pretty embarrassed about that. Luckily, I kind of lied a little bit when I said we don't get any outside help. If we put on the bunny hood, for whatever reason, we get a little bit of help. And by the way, if you look at his shirt, it looks like there's a bunny on his shirt, so maybe that has something to do with it. I didn't mean to pause right there, but let's go ahead and try that minigame again. And I should probably mention that the bunny hood, what it does is allow you to see, I should say, the entire timer up until pretty much forever. It doesn't make the timer go away. And we got exactly 10 seconds on the dot there the first time we put on our bunny hood, and for that, we get a piece of heart, and our maximum life energy has been increased, so I feel really good about that. But I think I might as well go ahead, I should say, and end the episode here. I feel like it was a little bit shorter than usual, but we've set up a lot of stuff that we're going to have to do in the next episode, so I want to try and keep the next episode under half an hour or 35 minutes, which it won't be unless I end the episode right here. But I want to thank you guys for watching this episode of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, and I hope to see you guys back for the next episode.